Hello, my name is Alistair Price, and this is a video showing how to create a gunshot muzzle flash effect in Adobe After Effects. So you can see I've got the shot in Adobe Premiere Pro. If we right-click it and select the Replace with After Effects Composition button, it'll put it straight into After Effects, where you can add the muzzle flash effect here. The first thing we're going to want to do is duplicate the layer, change the mode to add, and then add our muzzle flash with the screen mode. That'll make it so the effect is nice and clear, and we can just adjust the size, position it with the gun, 1 frame long. We wouldn't want it any longer because, gunshot is meant to be a quick flash. It's worth noting that Adobe After Effects isn't a program I've used in the past. I've only used it for the first time during the process of making this film opening sequence. So this is a very new piece of technology for me, but I feel like we've got a good grasp of it so far. So that's what it looks like with just the flash in. We're going to want to position it to the first frame which he fires the gun, just to make it look as natural as possible. So if we take a look at it now, it's looking pretty good, but we're going to want to mask the scene so that when she fires the shot, it'll illuminate the scene as if there was a real flash from the gunshot. So the positions we're going to want to mask are around her face, pretty much anywhere where light from the flash would hit her, so part of her torso down here, and as well as that, probably around the front of her hand, not the whole of it though. We want the mask to cover as much of the necessary area as possible without getting too much of the black. Normally you would mask on the scene behind the gunshot, but as I've got a completely black background, that isn't necessary here. So if we select all of the masks, we're going to want to feather them all to make the transition between the mask and the actual scene a bit more natural. So as you can see, as we're moving between each frame of our shot, the position of her hand moves as she fires the gun. So what we're going to want to do is move the mask through each frame of the shot so that it's still covering her hand, even when she moves her hand from the shot. As she's firing the shot, her hand does move quite a lot, but thankfully we can move the mask as a whole and then just piece together little each point that's out of place. So now that we've got all of our masks in, they're positioned roughly in the right spot, and as we go through each frame of the sequence, they follow the scene, the part of the scene which is meant to be attached to. Now we can start making the effects look a bit more real, because the flash just sort of goes on and off when really it would have a really small fade. So what we're going to do is just mess about with the opacity a bit, as well as keyframing. Going to want to keyframe each part of the scene so that at the start of the gunshot, the environmental lighting is a lot brighter, but then slowly fades away through each of the following frames. So it's looking pretty good right now. We've got our environmental effects from the gun flash. We've got the muzzle shot, but we'd want it to look as real as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a smoke effect at the front of the gun, just to give it a bit more realism. We're going to want to do the same layer mode as we did with the muzzle flash. We're going to want to set it onto screen, and then just sort of position it by the barrel of the gun. So as you can see, it looks pretty good, although the smoke lingers a little bit after the gunshot. So we're just going to mess with the opacity to sort of resolve that. So doing the same thing we did with the layer masks for the environmental lighting from the gunshot, we're going to want to keyframe the opacity of the smoke effect so that rather than just sort of lingering at the end of the shot, it fades a bit more quickly. You can see at the moment the smoke effect is fading a bit too quickly, so we're going to want to move the keyframe further down the shot onto a later frame so that the effect looks a bit more natural. Now that we've added the smoke coming out of the front of the barrel of the gun, our gunshot effect is now complete. We can just save the Adobe After Effects composition here, and it will transfer our changes straight into Adobe Premiere Pro, which is one of the benefits of using these two pieces of software simultaneously. And to finish things off, the last thing we're going to want to do is add a gunshot sound effect to our clip.